Let's continue our conversation on the sector with Ross Healy. He's our guest. He's also chairman of strategic analysis and portfolio manager at MacNicol Associates. What do you think, Ross, of these CIBC markets? The markets love them.
Listen, I've been following CIBC for very close to 50 years when I became a bank analyst, and CIBC was one of those, was the bank that always, whenever there was a problem, they always managed to step on a landmine.
Yes, I remember those days as well.
Exactly, but that is now in the past, and it's showing now very clearly in the way that the bank is being run. And of course their results, which are wonderful, and basically matching up their National and Royal. And by the way, also matching TD. And you sort of say, TD, what are you talking about? Talking about stepping on a landmine. Well, it's true. Of course, they have the the big problem with money laundering down in the States, but outside of that, their Canadian numbers were quite nice.
What do you think of the group as a whole, and will we see the share prices move higher? It's been a frustrating couple of years for shareholders of the Canadian banks, and very uncharacteristic. A couple of years of sideways performance. We've seen a lift recently. Can it continue?
I think so. First of all, I think there's some catch up in the really cheap banks. Although Bank of Montreal's got some work ahead of it, but Scotia is rethinking its strategy, and yes, its numbers weren't great, but they beat expectations. So I think that's a nice cheap bank with a nice dividend, which should do well. I think TD, when it gets I think actually it's more of the reputational damage behind it, as opposed to the operational damage. That's almost about as cheap as you usually see TD Bank. So I think that works higher. And of course, Commerce is still catching up to its long-term potential. And what can you say about National and Royal? Two very, very well managed and two very profitable banks.
So if you were beginning to put together a portfolio of Canadian bank stocks right now, which would you buy? I know historically you've said you should bet, now these are your words, you should bet on the strongest and best of the banks, at least until they reach their peak valuations.
Yes, I would probably tend to do that. If I was looking ahead 5 years or something like that, I might say, you know, what I'll do is and I wasn't going to touch my bank position. I probably would want to be getting into TD. I probably would want to hold Commerce, but I would be interested in Scotia as well as a potential turnaround. I don't know what they're going to do with KeyCorp, but anyway, we're going to find out.
That was my question, and we will have an interview in short order coming up on this very program with the CEO of Bank of Nova Scotia. And I'm sure one of the questions John Ehrlichman has asked is, what is your plan with KeyCorp in the United States? Very unusual for a Canadian bank, and a Canadian bank that typically is not invested big in the U.S. to buy 15% of a U.S. regional bank. Where are they going with this?
I know that is the strangest thing, which I think all analysts are scratching their head and saying, okay, I mean, I'll be interested to see what the CEO has to say, because other than that, it does not appear to make a lot of sense.
And interesting to say that you like TD where it is now, so the problems at TD don't scare you away. You think this will pass?
And they didn't scare the market away either. You know, when it all got announced, it sort of blipped down a little bit, but it came back nicely, and the stock is towards the lower end of its normal range. And by the way, that normal range has been in operation for 30 years. So when I say the lower range, we're talking a nice future for the share.
It's considered possible that U.S. regulators will tell TD Bank you can't make acquisitions in the U.S. for X period of time. Would that not be a significant obstacle to share price appreciation?
I can't imagine that it would any more than any other bank. You would tend to your knitting. You build your book of business, which is what they've been doing, and they should do very well. I don't think that acquisitions are a necessary precondition of success in the banking business.